In this example, we're going to take a look at an application of systems of equations, and this is a mixing acids question. So the question goes like this. You're working in a lab, and your boss wants 10 liters of hydrochloric acids. The abbreviation is HCl. That's 45% pure. So that means that if there's 10 liters of this stuff, 45% of it is acid. The rest is filler. Okay, but that's what 45% pure means. And it says you only have 35% and 60% solutions to mix, so you're going to mix those to get this 45% solution. And you're asked how much of each should you use to get the 10 liters of 45% HCl solution. So we need some let statements here first. So let's let X represent the amount of 35% solution you're going to mix, how many liters of it you need, and Y is the amount of 60% solution you're required to use. Now the first sentence here, your boss wants 10 liters of this stuff. So the amount that you're mixing has to add up to 10 liters. You can't mix like 1 liter of one and 2 liters of another and magically think you're going to get 10 liters. The two numbers have to add up to 10. Okay, you're adding a certain amount of one, a certain amount of another, so they have to add to 10. So an equation that would represent that would be the X and Y amounts that have to add to 10 in order to get 10 liters of this stuff. Now, that's often what I call the total amount equation. Okay, it has to do with the total amount of stuff we're making. The other one has to do with the rates, the percentages, the percent of acid specifically here. And basically, the amount of acid you're getting from the X liters of the 35% plus the amount you're getting from the Y part has to add up to the correct amount of acid, the 45% in your 10 liter final product. So if you take the X, the 35% solution, and if you multiply it by 0.35, that's the amount of pure acid in those liters of solution because it's 35% pure. And if we then add to that 60% of the Y amount, because that's the amount of acid coming from that part that we're mixing in, then those two together should give the amount of acid in your final solution. And the final solution is a 10 liter solution. It's 45% pure. Now, this equation is almost done. We should simplify this. 10 times 0.45 is 4.5. So that's the kind of like the acid equation. Okay, it tells how much acid you're putting in from these two parts you're mixing. It should equal the amount of pure acid you're getting out of the mixture. So those are the two equations, X plus Y equals 10, and this one here. Now I'm going to choose to solve this by elimination. Substitution would still work pretty good here because this X plus Y one would be fairly easy to solve for X or Y, but I'm going to choose to do elimination. So I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to eliminate the X here. So this is a 0.35X, so if I multiply that by 0.35, then it'll become 0.35X. So multiplying this first whole equation by 0.35, that's going to be 0.35X. That times 0.35 will be 0.35Y, and 10 times 0.35 is 3.5. So I'm going to rewrite this equation below here, and I'm going to subtract because the two X terms are the same sign too. So if I subtract here, 0.35X minus 0.35X is no X's. I've eliminated the X's. That's why it's called elimination. So we don't bother put an X term here. If somebody really wants, they could put 0X, but you don't need to do that. 0.35Y minus 0.6Y is negative 0.25Y, and 3.5 minus 4.5 is negative 1. To solve for Y, I would divide out the negative 0.25 both sides. And so negative 1 divided by negative 0.25 is 4. So it looks like we need 4 liters of the 60% solution. Need to find still how much of the 35% solution we need. So we go back to one of our original equations. The X plus Y equals 10 is the simplest one to work with. And so I'm going to put that 4 in place of Y because I think Y is 4. So X plus 4 equals 10, so I want to solve for X. So X would be 10 minus 4, which is 6. So it looks like we should mix 6 liters of the 35% solution and 4 liters of the 60% solution. Now, just as a check to make sure that this is correct, you should always be checking your work. So I'm going to bring my calculator over here. So certainly this is telling us to mix 6 and 4. So 6 and 4 certainly do add to 10. So we're getting 10 liters of our final product, so it checks that part. Now the acid part. So 4 liters of the 60% solution. So if we go 4 times 0.6 plus 6 liters of the 35, so 6 times 0.35. Remember, it's supposed to give us 4.5 liters of pure acid. And it does. It gives us exactly the right amount. So of this 10 liters, 4.5 liters is pure HCl, so it is the correct strength acid. And that's the end of the example.